All right, everybody. Welcome to another Cleveland Moto video about a motorcycle that if you don't know about, you probably should. This is a 1999 Ducati Monster 750. This one happens to be the dark version. They did some different versions back then. They did a chrome model. They did some pretty neat things. But this is the motorcycle that gets credit for saving Ducati, for literally pulling their ass out of the fire. Believe it or not, this motorcycle right here in front of us is celebrating its 25th birthday this year. The Ducati Monster has been around for 25 years. And that seems hard for a guy like me to believe because I remember when they came out and they were brand new. And I was like, oh, I didn't get one of those. What happened the first time I rode a Ducati Monster, my friend Alex had one, and I was in Maryland hanging out with him in Annapolis, and he was nice enough to throw me the keys to his bright red Ducati Monster. And what I learned is that I, at 2'1" and around 190 pounds back then, was too much man for the Ducati Monster 600. These bikes favor shorter, smaller people. If you're 5'4", if you're 5'8", and you're having trouble finding a motorcycle that fits you really well, but still gives you the performance that you want, and you don't want to get a Honda Rebel, or you don't want to get a little Virago 250, keep your eyes open for a Ducati Monster, because these things are very comfortable for people that are shorter. And that's really cool. There are very few motorcycles, especially not 750cc motorcycles from Italy with tons and tons of torque and fun that work for shorter people. And this is one of them. So you should really take a look at these. I know that you've probably heard horror stories about how tough Ducatis are to maintain. And that may be true because of the bevel drive system on some of the bikes. There are some things that are maintenance intensive. But this particular bike, for under $3,000, has less than 10,000 miles on it. That's very fresh. And we just did a valve job on the bike. So it's got the most expensive part of any Ducati's owner's life taken care of already. And that's one of the things with these bikes. They actually have belt-driven cams. So they got these little belts that run up through the sides of the motors. And that's what's cool about this motor. If we look down the side, we're going to see that it is a V-twin, but it's got a really big angle, 120-degree angle V-twin. So your front cylinder and your rear cylinder are really far apart. And it makes the bike distribute the heat very, very well. That's super cool. It gives it plenty of room for the carburetors in the middle. That's super cool. And this particular bike is the 2-valve version. And the 2-valve version of any Ducati motorcycle is much, much more affordable to maintain and easier to maintain. I hate to use the term, it's the detuned version, but it's certainly not the racetrack version of this particular motorcycle. The 2-valve per cylinder Ducatis, very good from a maintenance standpoint. They will go long distances for you. This bike produced about 64 horsepower at the rear wheel, which may seem like not a ton of horsepower at the rear wheel, but because of that V-twin motor, it does have really, really rewarding amounts of torque. And torque is what we can feel. Torque is what gets us down the road. The horsepower, you know, that's a measurement that you're going to get at only a particular RPM. And at this bike, 7,500 RPM is the magic number to get that 64 horsepower. Well, meanwhile, at 3,000 RPM, you're getting a lot of very pleasant torque. This particular bike, it's the one we're selling, has everything is very original from the manufacturer, from the factory. You're going to notice our exhausts on this bike have not been screwed around with. This bike doesn't have the typical Vance & Hines exhaust or aftermarket exhaust you'd see on most Ducatis. This bike is very factory correct. Factory exhaust, factory jetting, it's not been messed with. It's not running lean. Like I said, under 10,000 miles is going to make this bike a very, very easy bike to purchase and own. The weight on this bike is 423 pounds wet. That means wet with a battery in it, ready for the road, 423 pounds. That's very, very lightweight. For a 750cc motorcycle, that's a really, really lightweight bike. 1999, and what do we see on the front? This bike has upside-down forks. It has upside-down forks about 5 years ahead of its competitors in this price point and in the CC class. That's pretty neat too. So you're getting a lot of technology for a really, really low price point. We liked about the Ducati that we thought was really cool about these bikes is they were generous in the gas tank department too. You're looking at about 5 gallons, about 4.75, about 5 gallons of gas. You should be able to take one of these bikes out to around 160 miles before you're thinking about stopping at the gas station. Really easy bike to ride, low saddle height, natural riding position. It's not as crouched in as a full cafe racer, so it's not going to give you the bad back. It's not going to give you the hurting wrists. It's a very good daily driver. This bike, anybody who's owned one, if you ask them, everybody has fond memories about the Ducati Monster 750s. They're just really good bikes. We got this bike. This was a one-owner bike. It came in on a trade for us. Really neat. Hell of a lot going on here for $3,000. Fun stuff about the Ducati. You flip this little switch in the front and the gas tank literally lifts up. That's kind of neat. To service the air filter, literally it's hinged. So you just undo this latch and it lifts up very easily, and it's got a little kickstand on it. So you can prop the kickstand down, turn off your fuel for the winter time. It does have a manual fuel control valve. So this is a very, very easy bike for the do-it-yourselfer. Also a really easy bike for people who are a little bit phobic about technology. If you don't trust fuel injectors, if you don't trust a lot of technology in the bike, this is still a carbureted motorcycle. It's very basic. Not a lot of that going around these days, and certainly not a lot of that going on for $3,000. So check us out. Go to www.clevelandmoto.com. Look on our used bikes page, and our used bikes page, you'll see this Ducati sitting there. Disregard whatever price is there. I'm selling it for $3,000. You can call me at the shop at 216-795-5580. And please remember to ride fast, take chances.